Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back, or welcome in. You are going to receive this message as needed. This is a bit of a 911 energy, but not of fear, but of empowerment. So we're bringing will hopefully light language might come through today. We've got the diffuser going. Yes, a little bit of a 911 urgent message for the light workers, the ground crew, the warriors on the ground, literally the ground crew. Welcoming all the elementals, the nature spirits, right? The air, wind, earth, fire, water, ether. All of our guides, our angels, our ancestors, our galactic families, cosmic families, all beings of unconditional love and light that are here working with us, creating with us, protecting us through these times, right? For our highest and best good always, doing with divine light, divine love, divine truth, divine power and empowerment. That's what we're doing today. And always, divine knowledge and wisdom, divine remembrance, and this beautiful divine magic. I know I don't know how long this is going to be. There's going to be a little bit. I am like fired up because this is like right up my alley with personal experiences. That's why we're here, to share our personal awakening journeys. And why the urgency today? Well, we are in this full moon portal, right? Very powerful. And in the light worker communities, I'm going to bring this a little closer and maybe adjust. In the light worker community, the ground crew. There are souls that are unaware of who they are, right? The second and or third waivers, 202 on the timer. Yes, things feel a little insane right now, insanity, okay? All right. I am here. Many other beautiful beings of light are here to share information and content, whether it's a short clip it. I might break this up. We'll see, because I could go on for hours on this. I literally feel like I need to do a little class on this because there's so many different layers. And I just listened to a transmission. I will try to remember to post that in the comments and pin it, and go watch that, because it's stuff I talk about randomly and have been talking about randomly for years before I even woke up, and now even more so, okay? So what is this urgent 911? Is learning to, if you haven't already set up practices of protection, and we are speaking from a place of empowerment, not of fear. So in the past, the tin hatters, the people that are, locked up in their homes and they're doing all of these things, that is doing things from a place of fear, and fear is a very low vibration. So it still makes you very highly susceptible. So, my ear just cleared. My ear just cleared. We're going to clarify how to empower yourself and to protect yourself energetically in this physical realm and in the unseen realms, the spiritual realms, the astral realms, because guess what? That's where the shit is really taking place. And yes, it does trickle in. It can happen here in the physical reality. But what I was woken up to a year ago, and was still continuing to learn and to be educated in many ways, basically different ways, shapes, and forms, my spiritual team, through technology, through podcasts, super conscious podcasts, and tarot readings, and channeled messages, and all of that, and learning to discern, and to work with my intuition, and my clairsentience, and my clear knowing. And it was a process. And there's a whole nother story. I don't know if I want to include it in this, but again, it took place, it transpired around my awakening last year and into the same time frame of this year, a year ago. But we're going to keep this video towards how to empower yourself if you're still falling into fear as a light worker, as a ground crew warrior. Basically, you did sign up for this. We signed up for all of these things. We signed up for the attacks, the experiences, and sometimes it's really hard to have that higher perspective to understand that you had signed up for everything, because everything you've been through, and maybe you've been through all of it since birth, like I have, and like many have, especially in this community, in this Starseed program. I don't want to say community, this Starseed program, right? And that started, I believe, in the 1940s and 50s, and upticked closer to like the 70s, 80s, and 90s, okay? So my partner, who is 16 years older, 15 years older? Holy crap. I'm just like, what? Anyways, he was part of the earlier Starseeds program because he's born in 1960, okay? So we know those people like Dolores Cannons and different Starseeds that incarnated to start this process going. And now a lot of us, we want to call us, if you want to first waivers, I'm getting full chilly bumps because of what I want to say next is a lot of the Gen Zs. You got the baby boomers, but those Gen Zs, yeah, y'all are probably for sure part of the Starseed program, and Spirit is full body confirming that because I'm getting chills from my head to my toes. That just came through. If you are part of or you resonate with being part of the Gen Zs, not the Gen Zs, oh my gosh, Gen X. My apologies, Gen Xers. My apologies. I gotta move this. My apologies, not Gen Zs, Gen Xs. Gen X. You know who you are. I guarantee probably a large percentage of you beautiful souls, whether you've become awake to it or not, are part of the Starseed program. As Spirit, full body confirmation, as a fuck yes, that's a hell yes. I just made that connection now. Love how Spirit works sometimes. All right, we're 6 minutes in. What the fuck is this urgent message? What? Just get to the point. All right, the point is for me to remind you how to empower yourself and to protect yourself in some things that you can do. And again, I will try to remember to post the video. You can go check out the Real Ishmael Perez's transmission from Wednesday, April 29th, 2026. All videos are timeless, so it doesn't matter when you're receiving this. It's all perfectly timed and divinely on time, 7:07. And check that out. Again, but everything he's talked about, I've talked about in many ways, shapes, and forms over my awakening process and during my health and wellness education, basically, as working as a personal trainer, working as a group fitness instructor, a nutritional coach, a nutritional speaker, wellness guider, a coach on nutrition protocols and fitness protocols and detox protocols and holistic health and living, complete in alignment with the physical aspects you can do to help fortify your physical body, which fortifies your mental, emotional bodies, which fortifies all of your 12 other bodies outside of you that your human eyes cannot see. All right. Just breathe. We're going to ground into this information. These energies, okay? Breathe. I did not become aware of spiritual attacks, entities, energies, thought forms like implants until I was well into my awakening process, which is the way I coded, my soul coded, said, we're going to learn basically blindfolded. So if you know Tarot, Two of Swords, she's fighting, but she's doing this blindfolded. She's going through this boot camp blindfolded. And when she gets to know, it's like that last minute aha moment, or like later down the road, you get this higher perspective information. Okay. So for me personally, through the education, the way my team works is like tarot reading on repeat. Like I listened to a tarot reading this morning that my team dropped in my feed that I heard last year, but because there was an entity attachment, it distorted the information. So when you have an attachment, it distorts your discernment, if that makes sense. It makes it a little bit harder to discern fully. Now, you still kind of like, you fall into a decision or a choice, but again, is it part of the lesson? Is it part of the learning the skills and the abilities, and training in the dark blindfolded? Yeah. How do you look at that? I could go into fear and say, oh, fuck, this thing is, no, it's all perfectly choreographed. Again, I look at it that way. When I actually get to know my full contract for this lifetime, is probably going to blow my human mind into, Anyways, last year when I started receiving Reiki practices, because I was called to, there was a soul call pulling before I fully woke up. I already was somewhat in tune to what was needing to be done nutritionally, physically. But again, because of certain things, it like became an addiction, or it became a distraction, or it became chaotic. So there was good in there, but there was also a lot of other things that were creating other problems, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, all of that. So when you spiritually awake to certain things, you need to, again, learn to call back your power. Know that you are empowered, you're sovereign, and not to live in fear. So yes, around moon cycles, you are probably feeling it. Outside of everything that's going place with this ascension process, yes, the light worker community, the star seeds that have woken up or not woke fully up, or still trying to figure stuff out, or feel into it, I should say, not figure. I've been trying to change that, trying to feel into what's going on and have some more understanding and knowledge, is why we, personal experiences, and we're going to go 1111 portal energy. And yes, we don't want to be all in the pink fluffy stuff. It's not all love and light. We need to learn to heal our shadows and integrate our shadows and work with our shadows. And that's part of the awakening process, the dark night of soul. You know, a lot of people in certain communities stay only in this light, fluffy, white light stuff. And yes, cool. But if you don't understand the shadow aspects of this planet and the shadow aspects of self, it keeps you in the dark, and it keeps you unaware and numb to what's actually taking place in the realms that you are completely unseen. Remember, the more delulu it sounds, the true it is. It's actually truth, okay? So this physical reality is that just physical reality. A lot of things are taking place behind the scenes. When I say behind the scenes, behind the veil, in the spiritual realms, the astral realms, higher realms, lower realms, and all of that, okay? And a lot of these entities will, outside of the physical realms, oh my God, there's just so much. I can go all over the place. Let's just kind of like, again, there's probably going to be a few videos. So we just like to weave in different things, and whatever comes out and whatever information comes out in this video is perfect, and whatever comes out in the next video is perfect. It's all, I don't try to figure it out. I just kind of just feel it out and just whatever comes out. Right? So I didn't know this. Like a lot of things in my life, I don't blame things. I thank them now for being teachers, for being lessons, for being tools, because that just made me fucking stronger. Empowered me even more, because I am aware of it now, and I know how to navigate it more. And now I'm here to help you navigate as much as possible. All right. So there's different things you can do to protect yourself. We might get into another video on that, but awareness is first and foremost. And what I want to bring to the table is you to have awareness without fear. So yes, you may be energetically attacked. You may be having nightmares or feeling like you're being chased or attacked in your dreams. Call your power back. If you are having lucid dreams, face that. It could be a shadow aspect of yourself that needs to be addressed. And yes, or it could be some other thing, we'll just say thing, coming after you. You know, being attacked by dogs, being chased. Maybe you feel like you're attacking something else. That's, again, infiltration in the astral realms, because you leave your physical body. And that's a way to kind of attack in ways in the unseen spaces, okay? So we're going to give you a few tools to speak, all right, to set up those boundaries, all right? So there were a couple of incidences going back to the Reiki. So when I had my very first couple of Reiki sessions, they were, again, things are presented in perfect timing. Okay, so like the, I don't know, second or third Reiki session, what happened, 14:22 on the timer. So when I had my emergency Reiki session, kind of like what kind of was like the catalyst, there's a lot that kind of took place in a short period of time that triggered my awakening. And part of that was an entity removal. Okay, I've had two that I'm aware of. So this was last year, and then I had one earlier this year. And the first one was attached since I was a child. So the Reiki practitioner sensed or was guided to, there was a entity that had been attached to my energetic field, to my okay? And what these do is create chaos, distortion, distractions, addictions, keeps you in these thought forms, belief systems, patterns, and conditionings. And how did that get placed there? 1515. That got placed there because I was put in a very traumatic situation, a very chaotic childhood, very abusive childhood, physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, SA abuse from a very, very young age. So that, and it also is a way to, and why? Thieves don't break into empty houses. Your frequency signature, your energy frequency is detected well before anyone else is aware, especially you. Okay? Take what resonates, leave what does not. Feel into this. Feel into this frequency, this energy, these words, and does it resonate? All right? I could say, woe is me, bullshit, but I don't. A lot of nefarious things happened. So that leaves you open, it fragments the soul's psyche, especially from a young age. There may have been ritual abuse or whatever, but then continuing to live in this very chaotic, toxic environment for a very, very long time. Okay? Soul contracts. Okay? It's for growth. And I know, it sounds horrible to some people to think that, why would I sign up for this? Well, your human doesn't remember. Your soul did this to expand and to grow and to become more stronger and more powerful. Okay? Because you're gods and goddesses, kings and queens. You just don't remember. And I'm here to remind you of your power and of who you are through frequency and energy, not through my human words. Okay? So when that was removed, a lot took place after that. Okay? I got really, really sick, a lot of detoxing and purging. And in that one, I don't know where it was placed. The second one that was removed early this year was in my upper back. All right. And I got really, really sick. I went through a rapid awakening. I made some rash choices. There were things that I was still not fully on discernment and understanding, and I was just still receiving information, not knowing I had this other particular entity that was also attached from something that took place 11 years ago now, somewhere around 2015. Okay, and that's a transmitted demon or entity. Okay, if you know, you know. I'm not going to go into details in this video. That's another video. And so that basically allowed for me to unfold and go through this healing process. As I'm continuing to learn about being spiritually attacked, and probably been spiritually attacked my entire life in many ways, shapes, or forms, again, through programming, conditioning, thought forms, belief systems, dark energies, entities, nefarious forces, whatever the fuck you want to call it. I don't want to give it any energy, but it still needs to be talked about. So there's a lot of people in the spiritual community that will not talk about this, which makes me just fucking, ugh. You need to talk about this from a place of empowerment and not of fear. And know that you did contract this situation for growth and expansion. And I know that sounds so fucked up to your human mind that your ego can't even understand that. Okay? So just continue to take what resonates and leave what does not. So there were times when I become more aware and awake and the third eye opens and all of this, and I'm turning on more and more, and going through the detox, going through the purges, receiving the activations, receiving the downloads, integrating, doing all of this healing process that I spent this entire past 18 months to 2 years going through. All right. I learned that when there was two main ones that I remember, and I wasn't sure what was going on, and I, tapped into an intuitive later, and now I understand those were attacks. Those were entity attacks. But at that point, I had become pretty well fucking empowered and a lot more knowledgeable on this in my sleep state. One felt like it tried to grab me from behind, and so instantly I settle into my breath and try to release any fear and surrender any fear that tapped in. And then I called in source and fuck, in my mental telepathic, I'm because I'm physically paralyzed, and you might have sleep paralysis might be part of this as well. I'm physically trying to scream what the fuck, get the fuck off of me. You are not allowed to be in my space. I call in my team, I call in source light. And within moments of me being fully aware, Like, this is not to be something to be feared, to call in my power, call my power back. I call my power back. And in April of last year, I really learned how to call my power back through affirmations, and why I've been guided to share these. Like, source, get in here. What the fuck? Get out. You're not allowed to be in here. And it was gone. So that was one remembrance of that. And again, sometimes you might not always remember what's going on. 2020 on the timer. And the second time, it literally felt like, if I were to like give you a visual picture, it felt like my energy was being pulled and stretched and flipped around like a washing machine, but like there was this darkness to it. And I thought, well, maybe there was something being, I don't know, tweaked or adjusted in my energetic field. And now I look back and I feel like that was more like an invasive trying to, and again, I go into like, as it's taking place, I'm like, what the fuck? Come on, get in here. You know, I'm telepathically sending messages to my team members, my angels, my guides, so calling in source energy, calling in this golden white light. And like, once I was completely aware, because I kind of like woke up, but not woke up, because I was still in like that liminal space, lucid liminal space. And it literally, once I was aware of it and I was able to telepathically communicate, you know, powerfully, it went away. And I haven't really had that happen since that I can remember. And during those times, my partner was experiencing different type of dream attacks, like animal attacks, or chasing, like being chased down, or just very violent, gory type dreams that are very not connected to anything. So that might make sense or resonate with some of you, okay? And then later this year, earlier this year, I had another Reiki session. Again, I used my intuition. It's like, I'm not going to Reiki. I go to Reiki when I'm called to go to Reiki. I don't go to Reiki because I'm like, oh, you know, for me, it's an intuitive thing. I've become very in tune and very in touch and very clear knowing on what the fuck is going on. And yes, is it perfect? No. 2-2-1-1. I'm still continuing to grow and remember, as you are. And I'm here just as a reminder of this, okay? 2-2-2-2 on the timer. And there was an entity, and this one was specific because I was having a lot of scapular problems, upper back issues for no like apparent reason associated with anything. And I went in, and there was what she would say was an entity attachment. And this was actually placed through something that took place many years ago, like I said, over 11 years ago, with an interaction with another human being who was at a low vibration that more than likely had a parasitic entity, and now that parasitic entity attached to me. But the only reason these things are able to attach to you is because you're in a specific or a low enough vibration or vibrational match for it to attach. And these things can create, again, more chaos, more distortion, more addictions, more intrusive thoughts. Maybe you're hearing a really good intuitive message, but it's being translated or distorted, or you're receiving the information translated or distorted. And that's actually what took place early on last year. All right, where I made, it's growth. It's a school. It's training, okay? And so basically in my mind's eye, what it looked like was literally like this circular disc with these claws. And literally when it was removed, it was removed. All right. And then also removing all physical objects that were associated with this other person, but also that might have been laying around or whatever. So removing objects is huge as well, not just energetically, but physically. If there's any attachments to any objects, that's super important. And then completely removing, if that person is still in your life at all, it needs to be removed. And if you know, you know. All right, we're 24 minutes in, and I could talk another hour about this, okay? So I'm going to give you a very powerful statement that I used often, especially early on. And then when I feel like these energetic attacks, because you will, if you are tuned in, you might feel these around the moon energies, but I'm here to empower you. So people might be like, oh, fuck. But yes, it might be ascension symptoms, but the ground crew is being more heavily attacked. Why? Because we decided to incarnate for a lot of reasons, but the other thing was to like, we're here to take the punches for the Earth Terrans, because the Earth Terrans aren't able to transmute this. So a lot of us are here to take the punches, to take the swings, because we are here to transmute this energy. We're master alchemists of transmuting energy and frequency. So yes, you might feel a little beat up, but know that you are here and you signed up for a lot of things, and a part of that is to be an anchor, to be a light, and to be a bridge, and maybe to take a few extra punches because other souls are needing that extra shield and that protection, and you might be that shield and that protection, okay? So that's very empowering to know that, okay? So this is, again, an I am statement. I call my power back, and this was sent to me in many ways, and I've used it many times. I write it down, and I change the words, all right? So we're going to breathe and ground into this. Inhale. Oh, there's music as well that people have created. All right, ground crew, light workers have created music calling your power back. Say this now and continue this as you move forward. From a place of empowerment and power, and not from fear. Know that you are empowered. Know that you are fucking untouchable and unfuckable. Call your team members in. They're here to chew gum and kick ass, and they're fresh out of gum. So know that if you come in, know that if anything comes in your field, fuck around and find out. That's powerful. Know your power and stand in your power, okay? I call my power back now from people, places, and things, timelines, dimensions, spaces, places, portals, and realms, known and unknown, seen and unseen. You do not have permission to my vitality, my energy, or my frequency. I call my power back now. And repeat that at least 3 times. Write it down. Remember it. Solidify that, okay? And that's a huge statement. And when you do that, you will also start calling back your soul aspects, gifts, and abilities back to you that have been fragmented through everything you've experienced in this lifetime. It's a very powerful statement. There is music you can also listen to. All right? Call your power back now. Stand in it. And you do this from a place of empowerment, like this very, like I said, mountain energy. Just imagine you're this big ass powerful mountain, and you are like, you're standing at the top of this mountain, and you are grounded into this mountain. You're grounded into the core of Gaia from the top of this mountain, and you are proclaiming, this is my space. And again, in all realms, you say this before bed, you say this before you wake up, you say this before you go into spaces, from a place of empowerment and protection. And we think that we have to do these big fancy things. Not necessarily. It can be a very powerful, intended, from your soul, from your sacred technology of your voice and your frequency, from a very empowered, grounded state. That is huge. That is huge. That's a huge step. And we're going to leave it at that. And then we will do another video going into some other things. Talking about this, because I am lit the fuck up and I am in full-blown flow mode. And like I said, I could just keep talking, but I want this information to get to those and in ways that is digestible for you. So again, if you have any comments or questions or curiosities, please leave them and I will help anywhere and whenever I can. All right, because I'm here to remind you of how powerful you are. The more activated and empowered and aware that you are, they can't touch you. You become untouchable and unfuckable with. And know that they can't get close to your light. They can't attack you. If attack gets through, it's minimal. If they, let's say they send death magic, just an example, if they send death magic, you might stumble. You might drop something. That's what I'm talking about, okay? So the more you protect yourself and ground yourself and empower yourself, and this is just one of many steps, you will become untouchable, unfuckable with. Right? Come around and find out. Come around and find out. Fuck around and find out. You don't want to fuck around with my energy, my frequency, and you definitely don't want to fuck around with my team. I guarantee it. 3000 on the timer. You don't want to. Come on. Yeah. That's how empowered I have become. That's how activated I have become. And I am a force to be reckoned with. In all ways, good ways, all ways. When you embody your shadow and you integrate that with your light, watch out. Here I come. Listen to this. Watch out, here I come. You spin me right round, baby, right round. I love you. I'll see you soon. Bye.